Hello, everybody. Omni here. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. It is technically a trailer. I wanted to go over and watch with you guys a supercut, essentially, that was put together by none other than Topher Grace, best known for that '70s show. Actually, not too far back, he even did a similar edit of the prequel trilogy, cutting that all three movies down to an 85-minute cut of all the best parts, taking out all of the, the spots that drag, all the things that just kind of bring down those films just a little bit in most people's eyes. And that was really well received. And he's back at it again with not just a collection for the trilogies or a recut of the movies, but this is a supercut trailer for the entirety of Star Wars. It seems to be titled Star Wars Always, and I just wanted to go ahead and let's give this a watch. I think it'd be something interesting. I know, like, the series as a whole has kind of been soured for me for the most part. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to hide or cover it up at all, but I was not the biggest fan of The Last Jedi. Now, as for how underperforming Solo did, I thought it was okay. It was harmless. It didn't really tell us anything that we needed to know. It didn't tell us anything that we didn't know. Not really, except for this weird thing with the Millennium Falcon, which it really contradicts the entire message of that movie. At least a big portion of a certain message that was... I don't know if it was being delivered or not. I don't know. I'm not going to get on it. It involves the droid and the ship. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, let's go ahead. This is a 5-minute long little cut, and we're just going to watch this together and see how this all turns out. All right, that's a little loud.
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
Ah, baby Hamill.
Before the Dark Times. Before the Empire.
I don't care what you say about the prequels. I still really enjoy them, even for the cheese that they have.
I'm not going to wait around for the
They're not perfect by any means.
The rebellion is spreading.
The time to fight is now.
And I want to be on the side I believe in.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm stuck here.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
He has too much of his father in him.
Oh,
What I'm afraid of.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. He was the best star pilot in the galaxy.
This is where the fun begins.
And a cunning warrior. And he was a good friend.
You were my brother, Anakin!
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
Han Solo. I'm Captain
yes.
Falcon.
Thank you for coming in and, like, spicing this up for a second.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me
Dude.
believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
I like this kid.
So what's your name anyway? Alright, well...
Cutting this in like that definitely gives, like, Solo a much better weight.
That's no moon.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
You know, I was getting along fine before I met you two moon jockeys.
Oh,
Situation normal. We're all fine.
Harry.
Now, how are you?
Good luck.
I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
You will learn from Yoda. Much anger in him.
You're not all powerful.
Well, I should be. Like his father.
Oh,
The most powerful Jedi ever.
Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
that was
Luke Skywalker.
the best part
It's a myth.
The prophecy of the one who will bring balance to
of Rogue One.
The Jedi
Jedi were real.
I used to wonder about that myself. Thought it was a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
A magical power holding together good and evil, the dark side and the light.
This
It's an
is
energy field created by
so
living
good.
Crazy thing is,
It surrounds us,
it's true.
penetrates us,
The Force, the Jedi,
it binds the galaxy together.
all of it,
There is still good in it.
Un-
all true.
until the Last Jedi.
Do you know what happened to him?
He was training a new generation of Jedi.
What you have done.
One boy, an apprentice, turned against him, destroyed it all.
Show me again the power of the darkness, grandfather.
Kylo Ren is easily the best character, though, that has come out of this new trilogy.
There's too much Vader in him.
We can still save him.
Master Skywalker, I'm from the Resistance. We need your help.
His father's lightsaber.
Don't you toss it. Thank you. Thank you for cutting that out.
What will you become?
It's time to let old things die.
Ooh.
Strike me down and I'll always be with you.
That boy is our last hope.
No. There is another.
It calls to you.
You cannot escape your destiny.
Yes.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
The Force will be with you, always.
Nice. That was so expertly done. It really filled in a lot of the gaps and it even like made me forget about any of the moments from The Last Jedi or even the prequels that really kind of drag things down and really shows how some themes have been echoed throughout all of these films. Between Luke's journey, Anakin's journey, Kylo's growth, and Rey, the New Hope. It really shows how powerful and all encompassing these films can be when you just look at what they're about. Now, the execution across the board is not always consistent, but what they are all about is still always there. In one form or another, regardless how you feel of any individual piece of the puzzle, they all have the same thread and the same heart. Even The Last Jedi, to a point, still fulfills that role. And I really hope Episode 9 seals the gap. There's supposed to be a thread that ties all of these. Even Kathleen Kennedy, though I don't know how much she believes it anymore, said this is always about the Skywalker family. And with where this has been going, and especially with all of the drama surrounding Star Wars after The Last Jedi, really hearing anything about it just kind of exhausts me a little bit because of how much you couldn't escape hearing anything about The Last Jedi and the impact it left on the community, the fans, everybody, no matter which side of the fence you were on. I really think it's come to the point where Star Wars it's oversaturating everything, and I think that's a big part of it. I think that's also a big part of why Solo didn't perform that well. It was only 5-6 months after The Last Jedi came out, and it used to be between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, it was decades. And even between those films, there was huge gaps between each one of the prequel films. Even it was even 2 to 4 years, give or take. And then we Disney wants us to have a Star Wars every year. People don't want a Star Wars every year. There's enough Star Wars in there. There's enough love for Star Wars out there that can do without having to have it. Star Wars used to be an event, and this makes me feel like that feeling. The way this is cut really plays on the emotions really well. All the beats through all these films that really echo that in that corner of your mind where nostalgia and all of that lives, and really reminds me of that part of me that kind of became lost after The Last Jedi, was that whimsical like love that I had for this franchise, because I grew up on Star Wars. I grew up on the original trilogy, and I followed this series throughout up until this point, and it's been poorly handled. No matter how you look at it, it's been poorly handled here, at least in recent years since the acquisition. Now, I like The Force Awakens a lot. I think they set up a lot of really great ideas, and I feel like a lot of that was let down in The Last Jedi, but there's a lot of good things in The Last Jedi. There's a lot of great moments. There's a lot of great technical things in The Last Jedi, until you start to pick it apart, find all the plot holes, and then a lot of the contradictory things that they really threw in there to subvert the expectations. The big old quote that surrounds that film. And I really hope that there is some redemption for what Star Wars currently is with Episode 9. What we know is very little about the next film, and it comes out at the end of this year, so I only hope that maybe things can turn back around, because this is a franchise that meant a lot to me. It still does mean a lot to me. It was a very huge foundation of what I grew up on and believed in, was these values, these universal values that are the primary focus of these films. And I just want that back. Sometimes, though, the way things go just in life and in everything else, sometimes that just doesn't happen. I never wanted to be one of those guys where, like, it's the original trilogy, everything outside of that, it just doesn't exist. Or the prequels, yeah, screw those things. They're not my Star Wars. I never wanted to be those. Star Wars is Star Wars. And I feel like for the first time, The Last Jedi almost made me one of those people, because of how it left me feeling after the fact. And I don't like that. I don't like that, especially about something I really care about. It's like, I don't even know what I could compare it to. But, yeah, anyway, I don't want to go off on a whole, like, drawn out negative tangent, because this cut, I'm going to provide a link to it in the description down below. Definitely check this out and watch it yourself, because I'm sorry, I'm talking over it, because, reacting and stuff. But I really just want to celebrate what it is that I really loved about Star Wars, and this captured the emotion, the feel, the pull of what it was like to grow up with this series. Yeah, that's all. That's all I got. I really like this. I really checked this out. I have not actually watched this 85-minute cut of the prequel trilogy. I'm going to have to check that out one of these days. Anyway, guys, I don't want to drone on about anything and like bumming out the mood, because Star Wars should not be that. Star Wars should be something that is celebrated, and I really hope Episode 9 brings us back around to that point, because right now, Star Wars as a fandom is in such a weird place right now. But to subvert that, let's fill the comment section with some really positive stories you have about Star Wars, how it affected your life, where did you come into it, have you even watched it at all? Tell me how you feel about the current state of Star Wars, just anything. Let's talk about it, let's celebrate it, down in the comments below, and I will join in with you down there as well as much as I can. I try to reply to most of the comments that come in. It's a small channel. It's not that hard to do. But yeah, that's it. If you like this, feel free to follow and check out my other videos. And anyway, guys, thank you, and I will catch you all later, and may the force be with you always.